The Phantom Call by Trevor Wallace. Last night, my friend Jake burst into my apartment. His eyes were wild with excitement. "Dude, we gotta go. There's this killer band playing downtown in 20 minutes. I barely had time to grab my jacket before he dragged me out the door. The bar was packed and the music was deafening. After a few drinks, I reached for my phone to check the time. My pocket was empty. Panic set in as I patted myself down. Nothing. I scanned our table littered with empty glasses. No phone. I checked under nearby stools and booths. Still nothing. Growing desperate, I even searched the sticky floors of the restrooms. By now my heart was racing. That phone had my whole life on it. Jake saw my distress and offered his phone. "Here, man, call yours. Maybe someone found it." With trembling fingers, I dialed my number. It rang once. Twice. Then a click. "Hello," I said hopefully. For a moment there was only silence. Then a low, raspy giggle erupted from the other end. It was unlike any sound I'd heard before. Chills ran down my spine. Before I could speak again, the line went dead. I tried calling back multiple times, but it went straight to voicemail. A sick feeling settled in my stomach. Eventually I gave up and headed home dejected. I trudged up to my dark apartment, feeling violated. Someone out there had my phone, my photos, my private information. As I flicked on the bedroom light, I froze. There on my nightstand was my phone, right where I'd left it. But how? Who answered? What was that laugh? Sleep did not come easily that night. Even now I can't shake the feeling that something is very wrong. The Phantom Bus by Logan Pierce. When I was a kid, I lived at the very end of our school bus route. Every morning I'd stand alone at the stop waiting to be the last one picked up. One chilly autumn day, I was shivering at the curb when an unfamiliar yellow bus pulled up. The door creaked open. The driver smiled down at me. "Hop on in," he said cheerfully, but something felt off. The bus was completely empty. "Where are all the other kids?" I asked hesitantly. His smile never wavered. "Oh, we'll pick them up next. Come on now, don't be shy." A shiver ran through me that had nothing to do with the cold. I think I'll wait for my regular bus," I stammered. His eyes hardened. "Listen, kid, just get on the bus now." His tone sent alarm bells ringing in my head. I took a step back. "No, thank you." He leaned out, glaring at me. I said, "Get on." I turned and ran. Behind me, I heard the bus door slam and engine rev. I sprinted down the street, heart pounding. When I finally looked back, the strange bus was gone. Minutes later, my usual bus arrived, full of familiar faces. I climbed aboard, shaking. That afternoon, I told my parents what happened. The color drained from their faces. They made frantic calls to the police and school. But no one ever found that phantom bus or its driver. To this day, I shudder, thinking how close I came to getting on. I'm reminded of the hadith that says, "Leave that which makes you doubt for that which does not make you doubt." Trusting my instincts may have saved my life that day. The Neighbor in the Night by Riley Mitchell. A few years ago, I rented an apartment from my friend Mark. He'd recently renovated the place, but couldn't sell it, so I offered to be a tenant. It seemed perfect at first. Spacious. Quiet. But soon I realized something was very wrong with the lady next door. She was middle-aged, but looked ancient, gaunt, wild-eyed. Every night she'd blast Christian radio shows and rant to unseen listeners. After weeks of sleepless nights, I worked up the courage to knock on her door. When it creaked open, the smell hit me first. Rotten. Her apartment was a nightmare. Crosses in garish colors covered every wall. Religious phrases were scrawled everywhere. The windows were painted black. Filthy carpet squished under my feet. Roaches scurried in the shadows. "Please keep it down," I managed to say. She just stared at me with glassy eyes and slammed the door. That night, the radio blared louder than ever. The next evening, my girlfriend Sarah stayed over. Around 3 a.m., I jolted awake. A dark figure loomed by the bed watching us. I blinked, thinking it was a hallucination. Then it spoke. "Should lock your doors at night." It was my neighbor, holding something I couldn't make out. Sarah screamed. The woman calmly walked out. We were too terrified to move. How long had she been there? What was in her hand? The next morning I heard mumbling outside. There she was, talking gibberish and clutching a trash bag. The putrid smell of decay wafted up. With horror, I realized it contained a dead animal. It's probably a dog. I raced upstairs and pounded on another tenant's door. The man who answered looked as scared as I felt. She broke in on me too, he whispered. I found her behind my couch holding a power drill while my kids were watching TV. Panic consumed me. I called the police. They knew all about her. A violent schizophrenic off her meds. But they couldn't force entry since she owned the unit. All they could do was wait for her to leave. For 2 days, I barely slept listening for movement. Finally, at 2 a.m., I heard her shuffling out. I immediately dialed 911. Within minutes, sirens wailed. Officers swarmed in and whisked her away to a facility. Just like that, she was gone. But the terror lingered. For months, I'd jolt awake thinking I saw her silhouette by the bed. Even now, years later, the memory haunts me. I'm reminded of the Quranic verse, and will surely test you with something of fear and hunger and a loss of wealth and lives and fruits. But give good tidings to the patient. Those days tested my faith and resilience in ways I never imagined. Unlocked by Connor Hayes. As the night shift was winding down. Just 15 minutes left before I could head home and crash into my welcoming bed. The industrial district was eerily quiet at this hour. No bustling workers, no humming machinery, just the soft glow of my computer screen and the occasional creak of the old building settling. Suddenly, a deafening crash shattered the silence. My heart leapt into my throat as I jolted upright. Adrenaline surged through my veins as I cautiously approached the source of the noise. There in the front window, a jagged hole gaped where smooth glass should have been. Shards glittered on the floor like fallen stars. A sizable rock lay innocently among the debris. Who would do this? And why? My mind raced with possibilities, each more sinister than the last. I retreated to my desk, hands shaking as I dialed security. After a brief call, I decided it was time to get out of there. Fast. My footsteps echoed in the empty hallways as I speed-walked to the exit. By the time I reached the parking lot, I was in a full sprint. I yanked open my car door and flung myself inside, slamming it shut behind me. The engine roared to life, and I peeled out of the lot, tires squealing. As the familiar streets of my neighborhood came into view, I finally began to relax. My white-knuckled grip on the steering wheel loosened. That's when a chilling realization hit me. I never unlocked my car. It had been open this whole time. A cold sweat broke out across my skin as I remembered the words of our prophet, peace be upon him. Tie your camel, and then put your trust in Allah. With trembling fingers, I reached back, feeling blindly for any unwanted passengers. Nothing. Just empty seats and discarded fast food wrappers. I let out a shaky breath. Maybe I was just being paranoid. I needed a distraction. On impulse, I called up my buddy Ahmed. He was out at a halal restaurant and invited me to join. Perfect. The cool night air felt refreshing as I pedaled along. Moonlight bathed the quiet streets in an ethereal glow. For a moment, I forgot my earlier fears, letting myself enjoy the peaceful ride. The soft whir of bicycle tires approached from behind. I moved to the side to let them pass, but something felt off. The rider drew alongside me at an unnaturally slow pace. I glanced over and my blood ran cold. A face split by a manic grin stared back at me, eyes gleaming with a predatory light. My breath caught in my throat as he passed by, still grinning that insane smile. That's when I noticed the bike. It was my mother's. Panic exploded in my chest. I pedaled furiously, my legs burning as I raced home. Please let her be okay. Please, Allah, protect her. The words of the Quran echoed in my mind. And whoever puts their trust in Allah, then he will suffice him. I burst through the front door, calling out for my mom. No answer. With shaking hands, I dialed her number, praying she would pick up. 1 ring, 2 rings. An eternity passed before I heard her sleepy voice. Hello. Relief flooded through me. She was safe. But then where was her bike? I hung up and went to check the garage. Sure enough, her bicycle was missing. Chill ran down my spine as I remembered the grinning stranger. How did he get her bike? I stumbled back outside, needing fresh air to clear my head. That's when I saw it. My car's back left door stood wide open. The door I never use. The one furthest from the driver's seat. Memories of the unlocked car came rushing back. Someone had been in there, waiting, watching. I felt sick. The night suddenly seemed much darker. much more dangerous. And somewhere out there, a madman was riding my mother's bike, grinning that insane smile. The Payphone, by Derek Sullivan. The campground was eerily still at night. Shadows danced at the edge of my vision as I settled in for another 12-hour shift. Midnight to 8 a.m., I was the sole guardian of this little slice of wilderness. Most nights passed uneventfully. I'd while away the hours gaming on my trusty PS2, occasionally dealing with a late arrival or early departure. But tonight felt different. A sense of unease prickled at the back of my neck. I tried to shake it off, focusing on the flickering TV screen. But my eyes kept drifting to the payphone just outside my little 8x8 shack, an old relic from a bygone era. I remembered the warning from the guy I replaced. Every night without fail, it would ring once at exactly 4:17 a.m. He had brushed it off as some automated test call, but something about the way he said it made me wonder if he really believed that. For months, I had kept the windows tightly shut, blocking out any sound from outside. But as summer faded into fall, I found myself craving fresh air. Tonight I left them open for the first time. The hours ticked by slowly. 2 a.m. 3 a.m. As 4 o'clock approached, my anxiety grew. I tried to distract myself with my game, but found myself constantly checking the time. For 15 a.m., my palms grew sweaty as I gripped the controller. For 16 a.m., I held my breath, eyes locked on the payphone. For 17 a.m., the shrill ring pierced the silence. I nearly jumped out of my skin. Even from inside the shack, it sounded wrong, distorted, like the phone was submerged in murky water. One ring, and then silence. I let out a shaky breath. Just an automated call, like he said. It's nothing to worry about. But curiosity gnawed at me. What if someone was trying to reach the campground? What if it was an emergency? The next night, I set an alarm for 4:15 a.m. When it went off, I steeled my nerves and walked out to the payphone. The cool metal felt alien in my hand as I lifted the receiver. For 17 a.m., it rang. I answered. Hello? My voice sounded small in the vast darkness. Silence greeted me, not even static, just a void on the other end. Hello? Tried again. Nothing. After a minute, I hung up feeling foolish. This became my nightly ritual for a week. Always the same result. I let it go after that, focusing on my usual routine. But as October rolled in, bringing with it a chill in the air, I felt drawn to the phone once more. Maybe it was the spooky atmosphere of the season. Maybe it was boredom. Whatever the reason, I found myself once again waiting by the payphone. As the clock struck for 17 a.m., the ring seemed louder this time, more insistent. I answered quickly, Hello, is anyone there? For a moment only silence, then a sound that made my skin crawl. Someone inhaling sharply through clenched teeth. A voice like gravel being crushed spoke. It said my name, my full name, first, middle, and last. Ice flooded my veins. I slammed the phone down, my heart pounding. How did they know my name? With trembling fingers, I fed some change into the slot and dialed *69. The number flashed on the tiny screen, an area code I didn't recognize. California? I was in Indiana, thousands of miles away. Questions raced through my mind. Who was calling? How did they know me? Why every night at exactly 4:17 a.m.? As dawn broke, I found myself whispering a dua I learned as a child. O Allah, I seek refuge in you from anxiety and sorrow, from weakness and laziness, from miserliness and cowardice, from being overcome by debt and overpowered by men. The words brought little comfort. As I locked up the shack and headed home, I couldn't shake the feeling that something had changed. That by answering that phone, I had opened a door to something dark and unknowable, and now it knew my name. The payphone stood silently behind me, waiting for 4:17 a.m. to come again.